regardless of what people want to say about them, they're not stupid people at all. Some of them are very educated, and when I say educated, it just doesn't mean that they paid an overpriced bill for a piece of paper with their name on it. Some of them are individuals that have built an incredible reserve of knowledge about the Fed, about the history of the Fed, when it started, how to get off of it, people that have ideas about how to change the system that I think, bear mention. There should also be a conversation, I think, in private. Not all of the conversations that Republicans, Democrats, or even people who run this show or run any business happen completely in public. Sometimes for the integrity and for the protection of the individuals that work for it. Sometimes for the protection of the message so it doesn't become marginalized, sabotaged, or diluted. They do things behind closed doors. And I told the people from the very beginning that those type of actions were going to need to take place. Not in the vein of government secrecy to protect government, but rather to make sure that innocent people don't end up being victimized. I think it's important for people to realize that the only thing that this movement is really at its heart trying to do is make America a more honest country, is make America a less corrupt country. Now of course there's always going to be some nut with a sign that says aliens are coming, or repent, it's the last day. But at the end of the day, we know what the core message of the Occupy people is. So regardless of who has an issue with it or who has a problem with it, you can reserve your commentary and your anger until the 2012 election when it really comes down to it, which we're right about at the doorstep of. Well, I mean, I'm not an economist, so I can't tell people how to balance their budget, or I can't come with a bunch of promises that I'm not capable of fulfilling. But I think what I can tell people is this, that in every situation where you have massive amounts of government corruption, you can't rely on the people who broke the system to fix it. You can't rely on overpaid Congress who doesn't really see a problem other than the fact that their constituency is angry, not actually the suffering of the people. And I'm not going to speak for all of them, but for the vast majority that have done absolutely nothing. And it's funny that some of them want to blame the president as if they have some solution to the problem themselves. I'm not saying that the president's way is the most efficient or the right way. I'm just saying that they offer no other solution. Even when we talk about any other topic, whether it's immigration, okay, deport 12 million people. That's not feasible. That's not possible. It's physically impossible. It would collapse the American economy. It plays into the idea that you don't understand the history of this country, because not all European Americans came through Ellis Island. Not all of this country was gotten through a legal means. In fact, most of it was stolen land from Native American people that if you drive from Louisiana to Houston, you'll see they did absolutely nothing with. So what was the point of stealing it from a bunch of people? When I say stealing, I know that red-blooded Americans get angry. Some of them even have a violent response to it. How could you say we stole anything? No one in this country has ever done anything wrong. Really? Because we use nice words for things. So when you say a pilgrim or a settler, you don't think of a land stealer, an invader, a robber, a thief. I deprived the woman of her virginity. No, you're a rapist. That's what you are. So I think when we get rid of the mythology of America, then we begin to understand a clearer reaction to it. In terms of the Occupy movement, I think that's something that's incredibly important, going back to the very beginning of how all this started and seeing the different reaction that people have towards the fiscal crisis. Some people saying, oh, it's all these people who are living below their means that tried to buy extra houses when they shouldn't have. Oh, okay, you mean the uneducated class of individuals that, as they're referred to by people on Fox or whatever, that place the blame solely on them, or the predatory lenders who know everything about business, who've been doing this to people for 30 or 40 years. Who's more to blame? The sucker who walks in thinking, damn, I'm going to be able to give my family a nicer home, and here's a guy who's explaining it to me, and it all sounds like it's going to work out, when in reality, here's this snake oil salesman telling you that everything's going to be great, and it's really not. You know, at some point, if America truly is the country it is, it has to confront people like that. And it has to make sure that it doesn't allow its citizenry to be taken advantage of in that way.
Fighting for freedom and fighting terror, but what's reality? Read about the history.
And we're about to go to break. We'll have more with the Mortal Technique coming up in the second half, as well as more news. But I wanted to first tell you about the PrisonPlanet.tv specials we have going on from now until Christmas. There's two different ones. One is an Alex Everything special there called the Info Warrior, where you can get 18 films and a subscription for PrisonPlanet.tv for a whole year for a combined total of $129.95. Sounds like a lot, but think about everything. You get 18 physical DVDs and a subscription you can share with up to 5 other people. You can also get just the subscription under this Patriot offer here for $39.95, 44% off of the normal price. And we always offer discounts, but never one this good except during the Christmas special. So we hope you'll check that out. That is one of the main ways you help support this broadcast. And we're trying to reach more people. We're trying to bring you diverse voices, not even people we always agree with everything they say, but we are trying to undermine the mainstream corporate scripted message here and get out at least some truth as much as we can. And we need your help getting that word out. So stick with us. We'll be back after the break.
If you believe in this information and want to support its viral spread, go to the Infowars store at Infowars.com. We've got the new G.I. Joe Infowars t-shirts. We've got the incredible Pro Pure gravity-fed filters available at Infowars.com in the store. We've got a new DVD, Scientists Under Attack, the Don't Tread on Me flag. We've got all sorts of different bumper stickers to help spread the rebellion virally. It's all there, wristbands, citizen rule books in every order. Order online at Infowars.com today. The water filters, the canteens, it's all there. Infowars.com.
We are back from break. I'm still Aaron Dykes sitting in on this Infowars nightly news transmission. Now, in other news about how the feds know best, we have Homeland Security's linked group now training citizens in Colorado that their best pal could be a terrorist. And it goes on to explain how there's a course in quote-unquote community awareness programming that is funded by this organization, and they've produced a video previously saying that buying gold's a suspicious activity and a number of other ordinary kinds of events. And it's a woman named Diana Woodson, and she's training people basically that, you know, says here an ex-Marine from Lakewood whose wife gives him the evil eye when he's sizing up potential threats at Denver Airport as a problem, as well as a scenario where a New Yorker refuses to ride on subways and spends as little time as possible in high-rise buildings. So it's setting this whole atmosphere of being paranoid wherever you are. And then it goes on to explain how this course teaches you that even your closest neighbor could be a terrorist. It's not going to be the person you think it's going to be, said Woodson. He's your best neighbor, your best pal. He doesn't always look like the bad guy. It could be someone unassuming. And that's a course called Counterterrorism Education Learning Lab, or CEL, a little term they throw around to make it sound tough. And I think we have here some clips from the previous video they produced on how buying gold's so evil, where they got John Elway, another talented NFL guy, to work for Homeland Security.
I'm reminded of the morning of September 11th, 2001. I remember turning on the television and saying, how can this possibly be happening in the United States of America? Well, it's something that we're going to have to deal with the rest of our lives. The horrific events of September 11th and the Oklahoma City bombing have made it clear that terrorism is not only a very real threat abroad, but also right here at home. Anyone can become a victim of terrorism, anytime, anywhere.
Some terrorists even gain employment to monitor day-to-day activities to gather detailed information about their target.
Have you ever been on a bus or a light rail and noticed a bag that has been left unattended? This could be an example of a terrorist determining how long it takes for people or security to respond.
Terrorists not only need to raise money, but they also need to transfer and spend it in a way that doesn't bring attention to themselves. There are many signs to watch out for, such as witnessing an unusually large transaction that's paid for with cash or gift cards. Any of these surveillance methods may be a sign that something isn't right, and you should report it to the kayak. It's important for all of us to realize when a terrorist incident occurs, it affects everyone. You can make a difference in helping stop an attack by being able to recognize the 8 signs of terrorism and alert the authorities. If you or a family member sees any sort of suspicious activity, you shouldn't attempt to stop a suspect. Rather, report it immediately by calling 911 or the kayak.
So there you have it. Just more implication that if you're selling gold or talking to your neighbors or trying to sell something secondhand, that could be suspicious. This is all about supposedly training people to trust the federal government, Homeland Security, and not trusting the people you actually know. And notice how, too, it's not about Muslim terrorists infiltrating the country. It's about targeting, watching, surveilling, being paranoid of other ordinary Americans, because this is an apparatus meant to descend upon the American people. And you've seen countless examples of it if you've been following this program at all. Here it is again, and it's just absolutely disgusting. A little tip, we can take this back to kindergarten. The stranger is the federal government. The stranger is Homeland Security. You don't know those people. It's statistically known what kind of creeps fill up those agencies. Meanwhile, you need to count on your neighbors or the people you actually know. That's all we really have in this world. We also have the special ops commander who says the SEAL raid book is a lie because it goes against the just ridiculous official account of the killing of bin Laden. It's just not true. A U.S. Special Operations Command spokesman, Colonel Tim Nye, said it's not how it happened. So even though they staged the Situation Room photo with Obama, Hillary, and the other gaggle of people, even though they threw the body overseas without any, over into the ocean without any evidence, even though their own account was repeatedly debunked and witnesses on the ground said a lot of other things happened, this account can't be true either. It's really kind of, as this suggests, choose your own adventure, choose the story you want to believe, because no evidence has ever been put forward that bin Laden had anything to do with 9/11 or really that he was even killed here in this special operation. You've seen SEAL Team 6 take a lot of losses without a lot of explanation. And here again, from this Farrer guy that they're saying not to trust, is another account of the helicopter crashing during the raid. We got that again from witnesses on the ground in Pakistan. So you choose what to believe. I'm sure it'll be the federal government. We also have a update on the Occupy protests. They have reclaimed, some of them anyway, their place in Zuccotti Park, and they're planning to have a larger protest tomorrow, Thursday. And they've also got a lot of lawyers backing them up, telling them that they do have a right to re-enter. We'll see what happens there. We do hope it remains peaceful on both sides. We know there could be provocateurs within the protest groups, and we know police, unfortunately, have a tendency to overreact sometimes, especially when they've been given orders to regard people as not really within their rights to simply protest under the First Amendment. We take you now to more from our exclusive Immortal Technique interview.
The land of the free, home of the brave, indigenous Holocaust, and the home of the slaves, corporate America, dancing offbeat to the rhythm.
There definitely are people that are fed up with how it is, so they're looking at alternative forms of media, whether it's this or any other. And at the same time, you have to realize not every one source of media is, you know, the voice from the burning bush. You know, at some point, it's incredibly important for people to watch this show or to listen to any news outlet they might have heard and cross-reference that information, to do some heavy research, you know, not just to believe something insightful that's said, you know, because we fall in danger of having fear-mongering be a tool not just of the right or the left, but of the independent media sources. You know, I think, though, that this program, others like this, and the ones that are appearing on cable television or the ones that appear even as satire like The Daily Show, what's the whole point of it? To ask questions that people aren't normally asking. What's the point of this program? To ask questions that you won't hear normally on mainstream media. Now, are people going to criticize it and say that it's conspiracy theory? Sure, because they've never understood what a conspiracy really is. You know, they don't know that people got together behind closed doors to decide how their life would actually be. The shape of their home, the shape of their neighborhood, the red line districts in many cities, which define how people are sectioned off based upon race and class. Someone else who's not you, who didn't have a democratic process of election to have these issues pushed them through. If anything's, you know, a conspiracy, look at the war in Iraq. a group of individuals who decide, okay, we're in Afghanistan, we've got bin Laden cornered. What we really ought to do is redeploy, tens of thousands of troops to a country that doesn't have nuclear weapons, but that we're going to say has